Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to WatchYouWant.com. Thanks for logging on. Today, I'm doing a special review with a special guest, Danny. He's our intern for the week.
Hello.
Danny's a true watch connoisseur, and he knows just how bad some of my iPhone videos have been in the past thanks to glare, so he's helping out. This Cartier Tank à Vis dual time from the Cartier CPCP collection doesn't have an anti-glare coating, so he's kindly accommodating by holding it at an angle for your viewing pleasure. Now this watch, as I mentioned, comes from the CPCP line, which is very special for those of you who are watch connoisseurs first and fashionistas second. You may be disturbed by the fact that Cartier is known primarily as a jewelry brand. So starting in 1998, the company went to great lengths to change that, taking its prior experience with the Collection Louis Cartier and evolving it into the Collection Privée Cartier Paris. They turned their essential designs from the Tortue to the tank into high horology masterpieces using movements from the likes of Girard Perregaux, Jaeger-LeCoultre, Piaget, Audemars Piguet, Reynaud et Papy, and a company called THA that was a collaborative venture between Vianney Halter, F.P. Journe, and Denis Flageolet. Now, between them, all of those masters have gone on to found their own watch manufacturers today, but a lot of them got their start with THA, and Cartier got a huge boost out of the burgeoning high horology movement. The CPCP line, which included this Tank à Vis dual time, ran from 98 to 2000, and it gave us some classics like the watch you see here. Thank you so much, Danny. Now, I just want to say that this watch that you see is the classic Cartier tank, born out of World War II. The tank was designed to recall the overhead profile of a Renault tank from that era. You had the fundamentally rectangular shape and then the projecting tracks on both ends. But this watch here is so much more, taking that essential classical style and evolving it with a dual time complication. Now you can see two time zones. I can say that if you had two houses, for instance one in Paris and one in New York, you might want to keep track of both. And so Cartier gives you the ability to adjust, you can see that bottom time zone, separately from the one on top. Now I adjust it 6 hours ahead and I'm good to go. I can keep track of my grand months in both locations, or if I want, I can move both time zones in sequence. So this watch gives you a great deal of versatility and real complication utility. If you are the type to have business connections overseas in far-flung locations, if you're the type who's got relatives overseas, if you travel a lot, if you have to keep track of multiple time zones just so you don't call in the middle of the night, this watch is fantastically useful. I don't think there's any more useful complication day to day than a calendar or a dual time. And this watch has the dual time. Beautifully laid out on a classical tank dial, they managed to integrate the two separate cannon pinions without disturbing the fundamental symmetry or proportions of the tank. It's gorgeous. And moreover, it's complex. Now, while you can't quite see it in the iPhone videos, this is an engine-turned, rose engine-turned dial with phenomenal detail. Radial pattern emanating out from each of the cannon pinions with a rose engine-turned recurring pattern that radiates out with those striated ridges. It's hard to describe, but check out the high-res photography on our website and it really comes across to great effect. Now the case itself is 18 karat rose gold. It's about 32 millimeters from lug to lug, about 26 millimeters across. I would say realistically it wears about like you would expect a 35 millimeter round watch to wear. And now you know by this point I have one of the most infamous 6 1/3 inch, 16 centimeter wrists on the internet at this point. So that's my wrist size. It's reasonably flat across the top, more oval than round. This watch wears phenomenally. It has tremendous wrist presence because that Cartier style and the beautiful finish of this case and dial comes shining through. Wears, from a visual standpoint, a lot bigger than it is. It just has that footprint that's impossible to miss. The Cartier refinement, the legend of the tank watch, and undeniable elegance. This is a watch that is a dress watch, but I believe has the versatility to play well in short sleeves as well as long. I would not consign this one to formal dress exclusively. And there's a lot of detail here that you're going to want to show off at every opportunity. Now the sides of the case have a beautiful graining pattern to them. A straight brush design that contrasts with the high polish of the bezel and the lug tops and the tops of the case flanks. Rolling it over, you can see the signature Cartier Cabochon is inset in the crown. This one's a little bit different than some of the other Cabochons because it's a bit shorter, a bit stubbier, and under high magnification, as you can see on our website, it's also a bit more intricately faceted. Again, the CPCPs were Cartier's absolute top of the line. They built at most 3,000 watches a year across all models. And for any given model, like this Tank Avis dual time, you would expect to see about 300 to 500 total. So extreme exclusivity is ensured, and that's really the holy grail of Cartier. To have a watch that everyone recognizes, but no one has. So you've got Cartier style and marquee branding, but you don't have something that you're going to see on every street corner. And the movement is part of the reason why. Now, Cartier did craft a few of these CPCP movements in-house, and it helped to propel them into the Cartier fine watchmaking era. That's what succeeded CPCP. And this one right here is the 9901 Manufacture Cartier. Now, it's beautifully rendered with a special regulator in the shape of a Cartier C and gorgeous interlocking Cs on all of the bridges. The bridges are rhodium plated. The base movement is gold plated. There's a gorgeous contrast that really plays up the gaps between the bridges because of that two-tone look. Everything is beautifully beveled, engraved. Everything is beautifully polished. There's a combination of linear dressage, circular graining on the wheels. You've got that polishing and beveling on all the screw countersinks, the jewel countersinks, and the edges of the bridges. This is a Cartier movement that wants to be seen. You've seen too many solid caseback roadsters, tanks, Ballon Bleu. Not here. This is a watch that's proud of its image, and Cartier is proud of this movement. So if you want something that hits all of the high notes, that checks all of the boxes, high horology and high style, you want this Cartier Tank Avis CPCP dual time. We were just saying a minute ago, and forgive our maleness, but this is like having the girlfriend who's a babe and a PhD in astrophysics at the same time. You got brains and beauty right here. This is the total package. This is the Cartier Tank Avis dual time CPCP from WatchYouWant.com. We are the luxury pre-owned watch authority. Check this watch out with full factory equipment on our website. I'm convinced when you see the nuanced high-res photos of this tank watch with its high horology movement, intricately detailed case and dial, you will be convinced this is the watch you want.